Greetings, my name is Leroy Trusty. I'm your instructor for this class. Hopefully you're in the right class, Safety 311. And I just want to give a little bit of an overview of who I am, so you know who I am as far as your instructor is concerned, some about my background, how to navigate the class, particularly for those that have not navigated an online class before. It's always important to understand how it all works. So hopefully you can get some of that from here. You do have an announcements page. That's the first place that you're going to. I give a little bit of myself right there. I have over 25 years experience in safety. I started out in the Air Force way back when. Munitions, Ammo Troop 461. That's what I was for the first half of my Air Force career. During that time, I became qualified in QA, Quality Assurance, as well as Explosive Safety NCO. And from there, transitioning from one base to another, helping get the B1 bed down in Abilene, Texas at Dias. I worked up at the safety office as the explosive safety NCO as well as a nuke surety NCO. And working in that area and working with the folks up the safety office and requested by the folks at SAC that I stay in the safety office, I transitioned and crossed over into the field of safety. So not only was I working at explosive safety and nuclear surety, I worked ground safety and became involved in aircraft safety as well, doing one of my first aircraft mishaps, being a bird strike, and then being involved in the B-1 crashes that occurred down in Dias. So being heavily involved in that, and from there I continued on in the area of safety. And so in the civilian world, I worked with a couple of companies in safety as safety manager, as well as teaching for two institutions, Trinidad State Junior College, as well as Embry-Riddle, teaching graduate and undergraduate courses in the fields of aviation safety for Embry-Riddle and industrial safety for Trinidad State. So with that, that's my background from that aspect. One of the companies I worked for did a lot of instruction as well as consulting in the areas of aviation safety, maintenance safety, as well as system safety. So that's where my background is in that area. And so if you have questions regarding safety, please let me know. Now, currently I'm not working in the field of safety except for having two cards, the general industry and construction standards cards, so that I may teach the 10 and 30 hours in both of those areas. But really that's where I'm at in the field of safety. I'm the director of e-learning at Harford Community College in Bel Air, Maryland. And so that's what I'm doing right now. But now with that being said, I do have some information here. If you email me, now that I have a mobile device, I can pick up the email, so I can respond to those a little bit quicker than I could in the past. So hopefully that will help, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you have any questions that are general to the class, I would really like for you to post those in the office, just so that we can answer that and get that information out to all the students. Now, so in the announcements page, will be a lot of information that I post to let you know of new things that I've posted in the discussions, what's new, what's happening out in the world today, some things, maybe even what's happening that's not safety related. But some good information I hope to get out to you, just so that you're aware that I'm around and that you're around as well. So with that, what I want you to do is make sure that you get in and read your syllabus, because that's the key thing to what's happening in this class. Make sure you understand that so that you have a clue of what's going on. And so with that syllabus, let me just go over just a little bit about it. You have two textbooks that you need to be concerned with. One is an online textbook, and that's the OSHA requirement. You just go to the OSHA.gov site, and there's all your documentation. Other than that, you should have the TEPL's book. That's the book that has all the other information that you're going to be tested on. So whatever is in the module, the PowerPoints, the presentations there, and then you also have the book that you need to go to. But get yourself familiar with the OSHA.gov text there. That's the 29 CFR 1910. And we'll focus in on that. Now, I know a lot of students in the past have always thrown in the 29 CFR 1926 as well. But because this is focused on the general industry, we'll discuss what 1926 may deal with and how that could interact with what we're doing. But all your answers need to be 1910. So make sure that you read through the syllabus. Now, down below, as you scroll down to page 4, what you have is you have your hazard workshop assignments. When you're doing those assignments, and those are where you'll see a picture and you must respond to what the text response is. Don't just give me a general 1910 .136. I want you to drill down as far as you can so that you can see exactly where you are, because when you're in the world of safety, one of the things that they look at, especially the OSHA guys, the guys I've worked with, they want you to drill down as far as possible because they want you to know that book. They want you to know what that regulation and standard states, okay? So make sure that you really drill down. Don't just give me a generalization. You need to really look at it. You need to look at detail. Really look at detail, because that's another thing in safety as well. That's what creates a lot of crashes. A lot of times it has to do with missed details somewhere. And if you talk to folks in the aviation world, in the nuclear world, you understand what all that means. Now, you have a class paper. I have provided you some additional information in the discussion. I'll get to that here in a minute. But here's some information on the class paper, 68 page paper. I've got some other issues with that. I want you to make sure that you have a good quality paper. You're in a 300 level course, okay? So you should be writing at a 300 level or greater paper. Now, in the course, you have the alternative, what's called the hazard project. I really have some issues with that, because oftentimes what happens is it's a lot of folks think that's the easy part, and I look at it as you have to put as much detail into the project as you do a paper. And so I'm going to refer you to another page, what we call the instructor's policies, because the instructor can have a little different view on exactly what they need or want out of the class. And so we'll get that. But make sure that you read through this, make sure you understand the course, and get things accomplished that way. Now, if you get to the schedule of each module, what you're going to find is you're going to find in some of those areas, you're going to find yourself looking at the dates a little different. The reason why I kind of split up the weekend, so the course, that module ends Saturday, the new module starts Sunday, is because a lot of questions that I get from students is that I can't get it done unless I can work on the course over the weekend. So I'm giving you a chance to do that, okay? But don't wait till Saturday to get into the discussions or get into the class. It's very important that you stay active, especially in the discussions area. Not any short answers, but really get into it and discuss with your classmates exactly what's going on. So in the discussion side here, let me just go through this real quick. At the very beginning, you have the online office. You have a place, a student lounge. And as I've told classes before, I may check it. I don't respond in there. This is for the students. If you've got some issues you want to talk about, you can do that. You've got your different activities. And let me just go through just one of them. Let's say activity 1. And this is really just where you get into the whole introduction. This is the form for it. This is where you're going to create your response as to who you are, what's your experience, what year you're in, what's your career, how do you anticipate using this course for the betterment of you. And that's the key thing, because I think anything that you learn in these classes, you'll continue on. Anyway, the modules here, let me go back to again, the discussion board, because I think that's the key one there. Is you've got your discussions, you got your student lounge, again, you got some different activities. Submit your topic, your paper topic for approval. If you are looking at doing a project, I also want to know if you're going to be doing a project in this and where your focus is. If you're just going to pull pictures off the web, we have a long discussion. We have to talk about that, okay? Because too many times I see that picture of that forklift tipped on its edge over over the side with that 1,000-pound bomb, and everybody thinks they know what happened. And unless you've been there, or unless you've read the report of that police car, that security police car underneath the F-15, unless you were there, I don't want some speculation. Okay, that's the reason why I really have a hard time with you guys pulling right off the web a picture because it looks easy. Okay, I don't want a picture from Thailand. I don't want a picture from Mexico, Australia, Indonesia, because I know what the safety problems are there. If you're going to do something, I would prefer that to be on a job or something that you're very familiar with. Okay, so that's that area. I want you to review that. Go on down, you'll see the products, different topics here. I have mine, which down here below activity 9.3, and that's my take on the class. You'll see a link to that in the announcements. This has the information on what makes a successful paper, what I look for in a term paper, as well as what I look for in the area of the project. Then I have another one that's called Other Discussions on Safety, things that would not really part of the class, but just some interesting stuff. And I'll put an announcement out when I add something to that. And then I'll have another one here that's called the Cafe, just things to talk about, whatever it is that you feel interested in. It's kind of like when you're in class, when you get started with class and you just kind of communicating and talking about the latest scores or the horse race or whatever the case may be. So that's how I kind of operate. I want to make sure that you're into this class. I want to make sure that you understand it. Again, don't wait to the last minute. You have deadlines. I'm not a real stickler on deadlines, but I need to have that information in a reasonable time because I need to be able to grade it. I need to be able to get back to you so that you make corrections if that's necessary, just so that you have be successful in this class. Your exams, make sure that you're using the right browser for the exams. I know that Chrome, every once in a while, will have problems with that. You have to have a reset. So be aware of what you're using. Firefox works well. Safari works well. Haven't had any problems with that. Actually, I've used Opera and SeaMonkey, and those seem to be working as well. Let me go back to some of the documentation papers. If you can, just put your information right there in the discussions. Don't try to add a document in there, a Word document. It's got to be something that everybody can open. I primarily use open source word processing. Sometimes I use Microsoft, depending where I'm at. So I want everything in an RTF format or a PDF format, preferably RTF, so I can actually make marks on it, do edits. So that's a key thing because I get a lot of complaints from students who are overseas. They can't download a paper that somebody added in there as part of the discussion. Put all that information in there so they can easily read it and look at it and be able to get into it. So that's some of my pet peeves, some of my ideas, some of my thoughts. I wanted to just bring this to you. I wanted to talk about it. And if you have any questions at all, send me an email, drop me a line, just so that I can be able to get to you and answer your questions. So if there's nothing else, I will see you in class.